HarperCollins presents My Husband's Secrets by Louise Sharland, read by Emma Powell. Prologue. The rain fell in great unending sheets, soaking everyone who had dared ventured out into the darkness. Guests raced their cars, trench coats and macks slung across their shoulders, but the wet still soaked through to their posh frocks and dinner suits. The goodbyes had been awkward, hurried, tension hanging in the air like evening mist. They had drunk too much, or not enough, and there was still the journey home to consider. After their argument in the foyer, he had walked the faded white line in the hotel car park to appease her, eyes closed, arms outstretched, while the rest of the guests watched in weary amusement.
"You'd be the life of the party," she hissed, her patience frayed. "I just wish once in a while you could be more appropriate." "Appropriate?"
he repeated, and laughing dismissively, whispered something into her ear that made her pale, before helping her into the car and slamming the door on the hem of her evening gown. The long strip of organza would flutter in the breeze for their entire journey. He was always lead-footed, but now, with just enough champagne inside him and the certainty of a row, he became reckless. Once free of the hotel security lights, the night became eternal, mud-slicked roads momentarily illuminated by the flash of headlights, then once again engulfed in gloom. There'd been an argument about his disclosure, fierce and vindictive. "You're a bloody liar!" she'd cried. But he'd said something in reply that had silenced her, then put his foot down. "Slow down!" she screamed, and grappled for the wheel. But he pushed her away, momentarily losing control. Then the sensation of the car sliding sideways, everything in slow motion like a crash test recording, spare change and chewing gum flying past as the car careened down the gully. Then the astonishment of impact, pop of the airbag and stench of burning rubber. There was a moment of suspended motion, and then the car began moving forward again. In the glow of the headlights, the river below was a twisting serpent approaching fast. Next to her, the sound of groans, flailing arms and pleas, the deep thud of the car hitting waves. A fear like no other. She fumbled for the seatbelt, her fingers slick with blood, pushed at the crumpled passenger door, pleading with a God she no longer believed in. Time was infinite, termless. Finally, there were voices, a hand on hers, and welcome release. She was eased, or stumbled from the watery wreck, her right leg giving out at the first step, and fell face first into the wet, stony ground. "Matthew," she pleaded, "save Matthew." Then the smell of the muddy earth, the rusty taste of blood on her lips, and unimaginable pain. The world ending. Chapter 1. Ali's back throbbed as the car sped along the narrow roadway towards its bleak destination. It didn't matter how many metal pins were holding her damaged body together. Nothing would prompt her to ask the driver to slow down. Nothing would stop her from reaching their grim destination. She knew that this road, with its bumps, dips, and unexpectedly sharp bends, would send every damaged joint, tendon, and nerve-ending jangling. But she didn't care. She'd learned to live with the pain, the morphine tablets easing her on her way. They'd started out early, taking a scenic B-road and carrying on through Dartmoor, not even slowing to give the wild ponies a second glance. She had insisted they steer clear of tea shops and cafes. Even now, 2 months after the accident, she was reliant on a pair of unwieldy crutches, and there was still that scar on her cheek. She felt a gentle hand on her shoulder and a reassuring squeeze. "You'll be fine," said her best friend Liz from the back seat. Ahead of them, the road snaked behind rocky tors, the stony layers stacked like gargantuan pancakes. It was still early, yet the sky was an odd, deepening nighttime blue. A gust of wind buffeted the car, and Ali found herself letting out an involuntary squeal of pain. "We can turn back,"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?